And welcome for this for the results revealing of Song Quest How Great We Are, the Hidden Treasure Awards, or the Hidden Treasure results I meant to say. So I wanted to make this video not just to show the winner of the Hidden Treasure, but to also showcase how this competition works, because it can be a little bit confusing. Anyway, so the Hidden Treasure Award, to qualify, the song needs to be heard by at least 6 of the 12 judges. So that's at least 50% of the judges mustn't have heard of it. In the first half, we're going to award points for the song quality, and then in the second half, we are awarding points for the theme, or how great it makes us feel. The theme is how great we are, so get the image. And the songs that qualified was Matthew Seven Comfort's Woodstock, as picked by Lorna and Dennis Kinghorn, my parents. They both picked the same song by coincidence. The second song qualified is Crush 40's Sonic Heroes, as picked by Jordan Thompson. The third song that qualified for the Hidden Treasure Award, it was the Twists, Standing Out from the Crowd. Stand out from our crowd. Okay, there's a typo there. The fourth song that qualified was R.E.M's Shiny Happy People by Joanna Rutledge, or however that's pronounced. The fifth song was Lordy's Team, as selected by Frank Lyford. The sixth song that qualified was Flo's Go, which was selected by myself, Dennis Kinghorn. You may notice me and my dad have the same name. Yep. And the final song that qualified was Carrie Underwood's How Great Thou Art by Holly Ling. And so the first votes will be from Catherine Astrop. And how did she rate the songs? So currently there's 10. So she gave a 10 for both Matthew Simcovert's Woodstock and R.E.M's Shiny Happy People. And you can see where the points are going on the screen. Now remember, this is a hidden treasure, and any songs that so all the songs that Catherine Astrop has not heard of before will move to the top of the leaderboard. So that's how that works. And let's see, which songs has Catherine Astrop not heard of? They'll turn yellow. Okay, and those are the 4 songs: Lordy's Team, The Twists, Standing Out from the Crowd, Flo's Go, and Carrie Underwood, How Great Thou Art. And you can see they were the bottom 4, but now they're the top 4, so it'll be 5. But there are some ties. So, for example, the Lordy song and the Twist song are both top, so they get a score from 5 to 6. So in between that, similar case for Flo and Carrie Underwood songs, will go from 3 to 4. So the middle is 3.5 and so forth. But those are the points. And let's see what that does to the early scoreboard. You can see that our current leaders is Frank Lyford and Emily Matheson, and this and the winner and the one that scores the most from the song quality will get the 6 points for the overall Hidden Treasure competition, 5 points to second, and so forth. So anyway, let's see the points from Brad Slater. I have not looked at this properly. It's supposed to be Brad Slater. Sorry, man. Anyway, here are the scores from Brad Slater, and so currently the top scoring song is Go by Flo. But let's see which songs he's not heard of before. He's heard of all of them but Flo's Go, so instead of 6 points I'm scoring a big fat 0. But let's see what that does to the leaderboard. Well, that puts Lordy's Team in from joint first to now just completely in first. Holly Ling with Carrie Underwood's How Great Thou Art is in second, and Emily Matheson's The Twist Stand Out from the Crowd. My own song has been put in the joint last, so that's the thing. Anyway, so let's move on to the Julie Lyford's vote, and here's the votes from Julie Lyford. And now that's how things currently stand with Matthew Simcovert's Woodstock currently getting the 6 points. But the question is, which of these songs has Julia Lyford not heard of before? Well, so now that means that Emily Matheson's The Twist Stand Out from the Crowd will get the 6 points. Matthew Simcovert Woodstock goes all the way to 5th place, so we'll only pick up the 2 points. But let's see how that affects the scores. Frank Lyford's Lordy's Team's still in first place. My own songs moved up to joint third. That's how things go as we move on to Joel Gumfrey's votes, and let's see the votes from Joel Gumfrey. Okay, so my song is joint first, along with REM's Shiny Happy People. But the question is, what will happen when Joel Gumfrey shows which songs he hasn't heard of before? And he hasn't heard of any of them, so those points will stick. So the top points going to REM, Shiny Happy People, and Flo's Go. So Frank Lightfoot is still able to hold that lead with Lodi's team. Second place is my own song with Go by Flo. But Emily Matheson's Standing Out from the Crowd by The Twist is currently in third place. Let's see what happens when Kylie shows her votes, and here are the votes from Kylie. So a big massive tie for second place. But let's see what happens when let's see which songs Kylie hasn't heard of before. And it's just Carrie Underwood's so the only song she hasn't heard of is Carrie Underwood's How Great Thou Art, and Matthew Severcover's Woodstock. So that means the full points are going to REM's Shiny Happy People as it was before, and the 3 points for the tie goes up to 4 points for Flo's Go, Lodi's team, and Crush 40's Sonic Heroes. And so yeah, let's see what that does to the points, and it's still Lodi's team still out in first place with a so close-knit group between between Go, Shiny Happy People, Sonic Heroes, and Standing Out from the Crowd. Noticeably, Standing Out from the Crowd goes from third to fifth, but it's still very close as we move on to Callum Stone's votes. And here are the votes from Callum Stone. Okay, so currently joint first is Flo's Go and Crush 40's Sonic Heroes. But which of these songs has Callum not heard of before? All of them apart from Crush 40's Sonic Heroes, so that goes from max points to Big Fat Zero as Flo's Go. My own song takes the full 6. But what will that do to the votes? Not a lot. Jordan Thompson's Crush 40's Sonic Heroes goes down to 5th with Emily Matheson's The Twist Standing Out from the Crowd. Moving up to 4th, but Frank Lightfoot still has the lead with his song of Team by Lodi. But the gap has shown. This is only the halfway mark, and so let's see what happens as we move on to Joel Fanton's votes. And here's the votes from Joel Fanton. You see, my own song is now moved down to currently getting the full 0 with Go, but the top marks currently going to Frank Lightfoot and Emily Matheson for Team and Stand Out from the Crowd. But which of these songs has Joel Fanton not heard of before? All of them but Woodstock. So that means we have a couple. We have 2 songs moving. We have like 4 songs that are going to get a point upgrade. Probably won't do a lot, but let's see how that adds to the points. So Frank Lightfoot, Team Lodi takes out a further lead. That's pretty much all I can really say about this point. It's still pretty close in that regard. For between 2nd and 4th, but now we move on to John Turnbull's votes. And here's the scores. As you can see, currently Crush 40 Sonic Heroes currently taking the top spot, the full 6 points. But which of these songs has Jordan Turnbull not heard of before? All of them but Crush 40 Sonic Heroes, so that moves down. That now gets the 0 points, whilst all the other songs will get an upgrade. And it's Carrie Underwood's How Great Thou Art will get the full 6 points, which will be very good for Holly Ling, because she was in 6th place. She's moved up a place. And Frank Lightfoot's Lodi's team still out there in first with Go and Stand Out of the Crowd in 2nd and 3rd, but not too far behind is Shiny Happy People. And now we move on to the last 4 jury members. These were all, including myself, we were all people that have had songs in the Hidden Treasure Award. These jury members can't vote for themselves, however, they will get an average of all the votes together to make it fair. So So yeah, so keep in mind as we move on to mine, I can't vote for myself, so I could lose a couple of places, but remember those. I will get points at the end of this to make it fair. And here are my own votes. As you can see, the top mark going to "Shiny Happy People" by REM. A lot of low marks, but let's see which of these songs I have not heard of before, and I haven't heard of half of them. So the top marks going to Carrie Underwood's "How Great Thou Art" and Lodi's Team, so they get 5.5. And despite getting 0 points, getting a score of 0, the twist standing out from crowd will get 4 points. And let's see what that does to the leaderboard. Oh, okay, so "Shiny Happy People" now is caught up with Go. Standing out from the crowd is pulled out into second. And Frank Lyford's Lodi's Team doesn't look like it's going to move. Still possible to be caught up with, but that's the current standings as we move. And we move on to Emily Matheson's votes. So let's see what happens. Here are the votes from Emily Matheson. As you can see, top mark currently going to REM's "Shiny Happy People." But let's see which of these songs has Emily Matheson not heard of before. All of them but "Shiny Happy People," so that went from full 6 points to the minimum of 1. The top mark going to Crush 40 Sonic Heroes. And yeah, and the Dennis Kinghorn's getting songs getting 4.5, so that goes to Go and Woodstock. And my own song moves back up to second with Go by Flo. But yeah, apart from that, not a lot of changes. Lodi's Team still up there with 41 points. 7-point lead. It is still possible for it to lose it. Very possible as we now move to Frank Lyford's votes. And here is how they stand. You can see the maximum points going to Crush 40 Sonic Heroes. But the big question is, which of these songs has Frank Lyford not heard of before? And it's only Woodstock he hasn't heard of, so that gets the maximum points. And this is what it does to leaderboard. Carrie Underwood's "How Great Thou Art" now moves to joint 4th. As we move on to Holly's votes, I think it is the last jury, so she can't score for herself. So let's see what happens. So we now move on to Holly Ling's votes, and here are the votes from Holly Ling. I get the minimum points with Go by Flo, but the 6 points currently go. The maximum points is currently going to Stand Out of the Crowd by The Twist. And which of these songs has Holly not heard of before? All of them. She hasn't heard of any of them, so that means the 6 points will go to Stand Out of the Crowd from The Twist, whilst I will only get the 1 point. And that's what it currently does to the leaderboard before we add the averages on. But Holly Carrie Underwood's "How Great Thou Art" moves down to 6. It was joint 5th, it moves down to 6. My own, so Stand Out from the Crowd and Go swap places, so Emily Matheson's song goes to 2nd, whilst mine drops down to 3rd. But let's add those averages. Since they can't vote for themselves, they get an average of the 11 members added, that of all 11 members that were added. So here are the averages. So so team gets an additional 4.05 points. Stand Out from the Crowd gets an additional 3.59 points. Go gets 3.32 points. And How Great Thou Art gets an additional 2.82 points. So let's see what that does to the leaderboard. And there you go. Lodi's Team gets the maximum point from the song quality, followed by Stand Out of the Crowd. Then Go, Shiny Happy People, How Great Thou Art, Sonic Heroes, and then the lowest amount of points, Woodstock. What just happened? That's incorrect. So there's a bit of a mistake there. Holly Ling's actually in 5th place with 2 points, with Crush 40, Sonic Hero in 2. But there's the current standings minus that mistake. As we move on, so that's one out of the 4. But let's see where the theme points go to. So this was judged by both by me and Julia Lyford, Joan Turnbull, and Kylie. So let's see. So the theme songs is based on how well the song fits how great we are. This makes the second half of the points. Now let's take a look. So yeah, there's the corrected points. So firstly, the 1 point from the theme goes to Lordy's team. So now that has 7 points. So it's still in the lead. And the 2 points go to Stand Out of the Crowd by The Twist. So Emily Matheson moves up to first place because we used a tiebreaker between those two songs. So Emily Matheson, the new leader. As we move on to the 3 points, the 3 points go to they go to Crush 40's Sonic Hero. So Joan Thompson isn't going to be winning the competition because he can't get any more points now. So Emily Matheson still in the lead with Standing Out from the Crowd by The Twist, and the 4 points go to, well, they go to Shiny Happy People by REM, and it breaks the tiebreaker, so that becomes the new. So Joanna Routledge becomes the new leader with Shiny Happy People, and the 5 points goes to Matthew Comfort's Woodstock. So that gets the 5 points. It moves up, and we're now finally last on the 6 points, despite the fact that Joanna Routledge with REM's Shiny Happy People is currently in first place. We only have the 6 points to award to, and so if it goes to myself, I win. If it goes to Holly Ling, she wins. So the 6 points, and the winner of the Hidden Treasure Award for Song Quest How Great We Are is Go by Flo, as selected by myself. I win, that is correct. The narrator wins this competition. So to reiterate, here's the top 3. So in third place is The Twist with Standing Out from the Crowd, as picked by Emily Matheson. The runner-up is REM Shiny Happy People, as picked by Joanna Routledge. And the winner of Song Quest Hidden Treasure How Great We Are is myself with the song Go by Flo. Thank you for listening to this, and I hope you enjoyed the show.